Mix it up. Get nice and heavy on these radish. Give it a little wetness from the bottom and the top. We are officially at the germination station. And then what you do is you just pour water. Microgreens have nutrient density payloads. When you eat these microgreens, it helps your gut microbiome. This is a profitable business for all of those reasons I just stated. And a lot of times you just have to remind whoever it is that you're pitching. This stuff always adds a nice kick of spice. Time for delivery.
Oh, wait for the microgreens. I'm gonna put that in my salad.
Yeah, I'm telling you what. Microgreens are going to grow up and produce seed. Here's all of the worms. These are red wigglers. In this video, I'm going to be taking you from planting microgreens to taking them into the germination station, also through blackout, and then through watering, lights, then harvesting, delivering and selling microgreens, then feeding those microgreens to your animals, chickens and goats. After that, composting the microgreens, growing seeds from those seeds in multiplicity, having a worm farm, also planting winter crops with that composted soil from the microgreens trays. Teach you how this is a profitable business, how it's a superfood, nutrient-dense health food, how that there's such a huge demand in the world and all you have to do is create supply as far as the business model goes. I'm also going to show you how this is a skill of old and how we all need to be doing this to grow our own food, and how we all need to come together to save actual real seeds, heirloom seeds. So strap yourselves in, and this is an immense amount of value. You guys, I can't wait. We'll see you at the end. Hi, Mr. Greason. We're going to need soil. I think people are going to think I'm a robot. For those of you that don't have your compost built up for you to actually plant your microgreens into, and this is your first time doing it, I recommend going to your local box store and grabbing yourself an organic soil and growing your first batch of microgreens, and then use those microgreens once it's expired, the waste of those first harvest, to then start your compost and then build up from there so you actually have your own organic compost soil for your microgreens. Hi. Set these right down for you.
Both the same?
Yep. Thank you. God bless you. Would you pay $100 for an inflatable moose? Once you get your soil, you're going to put it in a reservoir, and if you don't want to bother with getting the soil from store, we actually ship people soil on our website, linked in the description. You're going to want to incorporate some water in here, and it's around, I would say 10 to 12 cups. Mix it up thoroughly, and then you're going to take up some of this here and you're going to throw it into one of these trays that we also have linked in the description. on our website, the 1020 industrial trays. And you're going to want to do 1 level scoop. I have this scoop. It's my favorite scoop. Used it for 4 years. I think it's like a 1.5 liter scoop or something like that. And the biggest thing is you're going to want to make this level. And we have more in-depth tutorials on our masterclass. You guys can go check that out, linked in the description, Microgreens Masterclass. And that's going to give you a comprehensive overlook into all the details. For example, one of those things in there is how much water, when to stop mixing is when you can squeeze that soil, a handful of soil, and it drips, but it's not soaked like a swamp. So now we're going to go down to peas. Peas right here, super sweet and delicious. They got that snappy, sweet crunch. And you're going to want to get it dense, but not overly crowded when you're planting them in this 1020 tray. And I've got a heavy hand and I'm a little messy. But essentially, you just want to take up all the real estate that you can for a good yield on this harvest. But you don't want to get it to the point where their tap roots are going to come out over on top of each other once they're in the germination station, which we'll get to later in this video. If you guys are having fun yet, go ahead and leave a like button to support the channel. I truly appreciate that. And then we're going to grab a spray bottle and we're going to give it a nice misting over the top. Now, we've got water coming up from the bottom on these, sitting in their bed of that substrate. And then we're also going to give them a nice dousing of that wetness on the top. So, next thing is you're going to want to go press them down and get them incorporated into that substrate. Give them a nice firm press down. And then right off of the bat, we're going to get a nice level scoop again with our blue super scooper here. And we're going to just make that level all over again. This is muscle memory after a while, folks. It really isn't rocket science. These microgreens want to grow. They want to germinate. We ship out really good quality germination percentage seeds. All you have to do is give them an environment where they can do so. Okay, now we're going to switch over to some red acre cabbage. And this red acre cabbage, actually, you know what? We're going to do some radish. Radish because it's a nice way for, especially if you're having tacos, for you to get some spice in there. And we've been having tacos a lot lately, so we're going to get nice and heavy on these radish. And radish are one of the fastest growing microgreens. And then same thing, folks. You just take that down, give it a little wetness from the bottom and the top. And then you're going to apply some more seed to soil contact once all of those seeds are glistening. If you come here, you can see right on this how those seeds should look as far as how wet it is. Okay, so now that we're done with planting, we're going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trays. And we're going to set those in a new stack because, pro tip, in the masterclass I talk about the perfect weight to stack and seed to soil contact combination and what crushes it, what hinders the germination, and so on and so forth. So 5 and 5, that's from me to you, seems to be the money maker. Now we are on the rack. You guys can find this rack in the link in the description. And this right here is the 5 trays that we just planted in the greenhouse. And this is what we call the germination station. And this is where these microgreens are going to live until it's time to put them into blackout. So right now they're going to want darkness. And again, you can get more in-depth information on days after planting, we are officially at the germination station, And as you can see, there's a few different things that you're going to want to look for to put the germination station into blackout. First and foremost, these peas are not ready, but this is what germination looks like. Those pea seeds are beginning to form tap roots that are going down into the soil, and that is your first clue that that is productive in that substrate. So what we're going to do is we're going to separate those peas, and we are going to show you guys the next stage. So now we have this brassica variety, and this germination does not look very good. So that's going to remain in the germination station. So now we're going to go to our second variety. This did not germinate quite as well as I want it to, so we're going to also move that over yonder. And that is our best telltale of what germination station completion into the blackout looks like. Again, we are on day 4 since the seeds went into the substrate, and all of that is going to be ambiguous depending on the variables. If you're in winter and you have a non-insulated growing area, you can expect more days, and vice versa. If you're in a warmer, more humid, more stable, controlled environment for your grow situation, you can expect germination into blackout approximately 1 to 3 days. So all it is doing exactly what I just showed you there, and then taking another tray without holes and putting it over the top. And here's a pro tip. You can slide a little bit, so just like 1/8 of an inch or 1/32 of an inch is left for this tray to breathe. That'll reduce the amount of condensation and aspiration, transpiration from this process of these plants, therefore reducing the propensity of mold or unwanted things growing. So there's 2 ways that you can stack a blackout. For example, you can put them side by side, or you can stack them on top of each other. Either way, just make sure that you have that air gap and you should be fine. So what I mean by that is a stack like this with both of them having an air gap, or you can simply put them side by side. So this is another example of the peas needing some more time. I can tell because these fingerlings won't be standing straight up. They'll still be bent over, and all of the tap roots will generally be still trying to nestle their way down into the substrate. So I put 3 trays on top of a single pea tray, and then we're also going to put that on top of the peas to begin with, and just adding more weight for the germination station onto the seed to soil contact for those peas. And then so on and so forth. It's pretty self-explanatory. This is something that I do go over in depth in the Microgreens Masterclass, link in the description for that. And you guys are probably sick and tired of hearing that by now, but it really is comprehensive. So if you're taking this seriously, or if you're just someone that needs a little bit more help learning, I strongly suggest you guys look into that. So just like that, this is what a blackout is supposed to look like. And then as the name entails, turn the lights off, and that will be ready to take off for the lights and the watering section in the next day or 2. One day after blackout, and a lot of these are ready for lights. So we're gonna pop the blackout shells off, and that's what we're looking for. It's gonna be that translucent color because it hasn't had the ability to photosynthesize yet. And that's about the height that you want them to be at. And of course, we're going to incorporate watering them when they come out of blackout and enter the lights. And then what you do is you just pour water until the bottom of the tray is filled up evenly, and then you let them drink. They're going to drink less water when they're little and more water when they're mature. So these are the peas that we left an extra day in the germination station, and you can see why. All of those fingerlings are starting to pop out, and that is signaling that they're ready for blackout. Oh, Champ is getting loosey. All cornered and bothered. So that is how you take from blackout, introduce to lights, and properly water from the bottom. This is exactly what you are to expect for a fully grown microgreens rack. Nice and flush, plush, healthy looking. So now we're going to take it to the harvesting table and get it ready for family use and also delivery. Okay, so we have some of the most nutrient-dense living nutrition that you can grow yourself in the most amount of time, as far as 7 days, these harvests. So we planted these 7-8 days ago, and now what we're doing is we're clipping them for our family with the sweet peas and the red acre cabbage and the radish here, as well as delivering them to a place for profit, a local organic store you guys will see later on. We got some arugula in there as well, and then we have some basic salad mix and some broccoli here. And this is what I look forward to most. I mean, what other side hustle can you do where you get to feed your family nutrient-dense, fresh, living food, and then also make money on top of it? And it really is as simple as this. I go into more depth on the masterclass linked in the description, but as far as like graphic design and figuring this out on your own, if you're a go-getter, like this will work for you wherever you're at. Beautiful, and it sets you apart. But I wanted to dive into the health about these things because that's really what turned this from a business for me into a passion and made me just go absolutely wild as far as doing these at scale. And the reason why is because these are clinically proven in peer-reviewed medical journals across the world to help your gut microbiome heal. And that all happens through a process in the scientific world called autophagy, where essentially your good healthy cells eat the bad diseased unhealthy cells. And microgreens have nutrient density payloads that are over 40 to 260 times more than their fully grown vegetable counterparts, which means this red acre cabbage head, when it's fully grown, will have significantly less nutrient density than this microgreen version form of that red acre cabbage. And also 260 times the amount of beta carotene exists in this microgreen form of red acre cabbage than the fully grown head of cabbage. So that's something to get pumped up about. Heals your gut. You know, you have fresh living food with an electrical signature that's actively photosynthesizing and mining the minerals out of the substrate. That's something that you're not able to get right now in the food supply chain system of going to the grocery store. And that's something to really get excited about because that's how you're going to get your energy back. That's how your hormones are going to stabilize. That's how your blood pressure is going to come down. It's how basically your body as a living organism, you know, your biological operating system is going to repair itself and start to come back to baseline in which we were always intended. And everybody should be eating healthier. So the other thing is the brain-derived neurotrophic factor. So what happens is when you eat these microgreens, it helps your gut microbiome, it increases your gut flora, and it sets off a chain reaction in your bloodstream once you do digest all of these nutrients. And that in turn increases your brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is where you're getting that mood stabilization, you're getting that hormone stabilization, you're getting all of the synapses and neurological pathways repaired in your brain. And that just constitutes to more clear thinking. It just basically eating better and living healthier has been really overcomplicated a lot lately, especially in this last 10 years. It really just comes down to, are you growing your own food? Can you trust your food? Are there any chemical pesticides, preservatives, poisons, wax coatings on your food? Were they farmed in a monoculture fashion where, Monsanto's spraying Roundup all over the place and, Roundup ready corn in your flour and cornmeal if you're frying up fish or whatever the case may be? The more that you can grow your own food and get back to basics, the better. And this is also something clearly you can see that is a skill. This is a skill that our country practiced when it first began as frontiersmen and women, of living off the land, growing our own food, milling our own flour for our own bread, and catching our own fish out of the fresh water and hunting our own lean protein out of the woods instead of, pasteurization and all of the abusive parts of the farm industry as far as cattle goes, and the life quality of these animals and so on and so forth. But we've been so far removed through the process of technology, convenience, and technology that we don't know where our food comes from. We're not familiar with how that steak ends up on the store shelf or our plate, and people are sensitive to that now. So it's just great to familiarize yourself with our roots, living off of the land, developing the skills of old, and reaping all the benefits that come with that. This is a profitable business for all of those reasons I just stated, and a lot of times you just have to remind whoever it is that you're pitching or you're trying to sell to of these things. The fact that it is nutrient dense, the fact that you can trust this, the fact that these microgreens are really good in salads, on burgers, and oh my goodness, don't even get me started on tacos. It's so integratable into your diets that everybody thinks that this is something new or something complicated, or they don't have the time to learn or incorporate it into their daily situations, when really it's just the opposite. These microgreens are the easiest thing in your kitchen to immediately present some more good nutrition and sustenance into whatever it is you're working on. Whether it's a bowl of mac and cheese or you're going for some venison Alfredo pasta, this stuff always adds a nice kick of spice with the radish and the arugula, as well as that health component with the broccoli and the sulforaphane and the beta-carotene with the red acre cabbage. This is also something that's therapeutic. You're touching this food, you're growing this food, you're eating this food, and you develop a relationship, a positive relationship. It's something that you can kind of get just lost in the motion. As you guys see, I'm doing all of this kind of like on autopilot talking to you because I've done it so many times. And it is a very therapeutic process. So if you're looking for a hobby that's going to give back to you in that way, this is a really good way to spend your time and energy. And this is also a way for you to earn some freedom. If you're tired of working a 9 to 5, you don't do well with bosses or whatever your story might be, this is legitimately a way where there is a lot of demand out there, and all you have to do is show up with the supply. And people get hungry every single day all over again, and everybody's trying to be more healthy. Everybody's trying to be more conscientious. Everybody is trying to live healthier lives and, not suffer and go through the whole petroleum medication system. Everyone's kind of waking up to all that. You shouldn't be taking 70 pills as a human being. You should be eating better. And that's just the truth. Another great thing about microgreens is that it purifies the air. So when you grow these things on the rack, and all of the time that they're growing, they are eating all of the carbon dioxide, which you're exhaling throughout your day, and they are supplying oxygen, which is what you obviously breathe. And that is a symbiotic relationship. And it is noticeably better quality air when you are growing a room full of microgreens. And then the other really cool thing is that this is an amazing tool to teach kids and young minds how plants work, how seeds work, how the miracle of life works, the mystery of how seeds turn into food that we consume and it gives us energy to live. I mean, you can take it as deep or as simple as you want with as far as introducing children to growing their own food and eating the food that they've grown. And it does a lot for a young mind to realize where their food comes from and what food actually really is. So all in all, excited to deliver these in a little bit and excited to mow into these tonight for dinner as well. So there we go. We have all of our deliveries for the organic health food store, and now we're gonna clip some for the house. Time for delivery. Taking these. This is a really cool backpack for delivering small orders to restaurants and that. It's insulated. Link in the description if you guys are interested in this. You can do it for summertime, beverages, whatever you want, but this is what we use. It's got lots of compartments, and we're gonna bring this to the organic store. Hey y'all!
Yeah, go greens!
Microgreens! Well, hello! I wonder if you thought I'd walk in here as a snowman.
Did you get your check?
Do you want 2 in here, Kathy?
You can put 3.
Okay.
I'm so grateful for your microgreens, man. I was like, yes, they're bringing them today. I can, because I had my salad and I had to make it at the house, and I was like in a rush and I didn't get to eat. I'm like, oh, wait for the microgreens. I'm gonna put that in my salad.
Yeah,
too.
I'm telling you what. We're probably gonna have tacos or something tonight just so we can load them down.
Yeah.
This is gonna be an awesome one. If you guys like fresh greens, we just dropped off some freshly harvested microgreens.
And you'll come in and go, it's
It's great on tacos, burgers. Way to get fresh microgreens during the winter, I'm telling you. Don't get too much though, you get addicted. You don't want to get addicted.
That's typically boy, defend and resume.
Time to go feed the chickens and the goats. Chickies, my goats. Okay, so we have arugula and we have a nice fresh tray of it for the goats. This is something that's really going to help the goats and the chickens live longer, live healthier lives. Our first and foremost flock of chickens, you can tell they're starting to molt a little bit, but they're on their 4th going on 5th year. and they're used to an extensive microgreens diet. These microgreens contribute to really healthy omega-3 fatty acids in the eggs and pretty much every vitamin imaginable. Vitamin A for your skin, vitamin C for your immune system, vitamin D for melatonin, serotonin production, and melanin, which is also going to help you sleep. But these animals absolutely love this stuff. And the beautiful part about this whole entire process is the sustainable unlimited food loop. So what happens is the goats and the chickens get the already profited on and family eaten microgreens trays, and we prevent them from eating the microgreens annihilative so that there's some left over. Those leftover microgreens are going to grow up and produce seed. And that is going to give us seeds for our farm, us seeds for our business, heirloom seeds, and on top of that, the fully, completely expired plant matter that doesn't get used as seeds, doesn't get used as feed, and so on and so forth, that is going to contribute to our compost, which is rocket fuel for our worm farms, which makes soil. The crazy thing is I'm doing all of this in zone 6, and it's like 20 degrees outside, and these chickens are getting fresh, living nutrients. These goats are able to feed on that. Our family's able to have fresh vegetables. This is something that everybody should be doing, and I'm super glad you guys are interested in this. And it just goes to show, like, if there's a will, there's a way. You guys are able to provide yourself nutrient density and a nice therapeutic hobby here, there, and everywhere. So the last stop on the sustainable unlimited food loop is to use some of this and feed our rocket fuel makers, our black gold producers, our worm farm, and show you what the worm farm does on our soil store. So this is my worm farm. We have a new layer getting ready. So how this works real quick is I started with a few hundred worms. Now I got a few thousand worms. And you put food on top, and then they come up through this second level layer. And the food is the microgreens that we have grown and harvested for profit and the family. So that's what the fertilizer that I grow looks like. That's the black gold. Basically, all of the processing that the worms do makes it extremely digestible for plants to eat, fertilizer, black gold. Anyways, I can do another video on that, and if you are interested in a setup like this, link in the description for this vermi composter. So what we're gonna do is there's all of the worms. These are red wigglers, and they are composting all of this. So we're gonna throw in that Microgreens Rocket Fuel soil store, and we are going to incorporate the food, which I'll burrow a nice little hole here, making sure that it's level, and then just dump this food in there. And now those worms are going to come up through to get this new fresh food, and they're gonna compost that and break it down. And that completes the sustainable unlimited food loop once this black gold rocket fuel is used in your microgreens business or your vegetable garden or wherever as your own fertilizer that your microgreens contributed to from seed for the unlimited sustainable food loop. Cheers. I know you guys got some value from this production. It's free to support the channel. like it so it helps get it to other people that are searching for this kind of stuff on the YouTube algorithms. It's a free way to support me on this channel. Subscribe if you got value, hit the ring notification with the bell so you know when I'm pumping out content, and look out for all of the other cool productions and things that I've got going on in the great outdoors, gardening, and so much more. So thank you guys, I truly appreciate it. Growing your fruits, and God bless you.